This is the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast. For help with your retirement, schedule a 15-minute phone conversation with the team at ProStatus Financial Advisors today. Just call 866-597-1040 and at thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
Welcome back to the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast with the team at ProStatus Financial. We have Ryan Herbert here. Lawrence Kiely is here as well, talking through some of the issues of retirement. We usually have a little fun with the show as well. And I don't know, when was the first time you saw the movie Jaws? How old were you, Ryan? Do you remember that?
I honestly, I don't remember the very first time I ever saw Jaws. I didn't know it was a PG movie, honestly. I mean, I was probably, knowing my father, I was probably 8 or 9, maybe 10.
Let's terrify the kid. Very good.
I don't remember being terrified by that. I do remember being terrified by Jurassic Park.
Okay. All right.
The movie. But, you know, ironically enough, I just watched this movie with my daughters, who are 10 and soon to be 12.
Okay.
And they didn't enjoy it. They weren't afraid of it. I kept having to explain it. They kept asking if this is a true story. I was like, no, this is not a true story. There's not a mega shark out there that's doing this. And I have to kept showing them pictures of Bruce, the robotic shark that they used that actually was Jaws. I have to kept showing them pictures of it, but you know, my older daughter did enjoy it, but my younger daughter was just like, I don't think I like this. She goes, why? These people are dying. And I'm like, well, you know, they're not really dying. It's all fake. And then, wait, where'd the little boy go? The little boy's not there. I said, well, the little boy got eaten by the shark. Really? I was like, no, it's all fake. The robotic shark is not real. You know, this.
Oh, man.
When you emailed me the script, I was like, I literally just watched this movie, but it's great movie. Lots of good lines in the movie there. Especially, you know, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Lawrence, do you remember the first time you saw Jaws? How old were you?
I don't really remember the first time. I probably saw it at some point in elementary school. It's probably like doing homework, turned the TV on. It's probably on TBS or TNT or something.
Yep.
And I was just like highly scared of the ocean after that. Like going in water, not knowing what is underneath me is highly fearful. So I don't really remember. I was probably in elementary school, but I was extremely scared of the movie and the ocean after that. And then my kids, they haven't seen Jaws, but they've seen other shark movies. And I'm the exact opposite from Ryan. I will not tell them it's fake. I'll say, yeah, if you don't listen to mommy and daddy, that's what happens when you're in the water.
You get eaten. I love it. All right. Well, it is the 50th anniversary of the movie, and it's certainly, as Lawrence said, it touched an emotional thing with us because you don't know what's underneath that water, and people were scared to go to the beach and still are in some instances. But we always remember that movie and the line from Chief Brody where he looks at the shark for the very first time and says, we're going to need a bigger boat. So when I think about that and people coming in to see you, Ryan, there are times when we need a bigger boat. We need more income. I need more Social Security. I need more of this. I need less of that. What do you see when you're trying to help people through all of these issues when you sit down with them? What is it that people need more of usually that you have to help them with?
Tax planning. Most people always need some type of tax planning. You know, if you think about Jaws, Bruce, the shark, is this massive great white that nobody sees coming and just devours everything in its path. And it just takes bites out of, God, I can't remember the name of the boat, but takes those big bites out of the boat and eventually brings it down. But, you know, that's a perfect metaphor for taxes in retirement. You know, there's a point at which we all reach when, you know, the RMD age kicks in. Right now it's 73. It'll be 75 in a number of years. That's the point at which the government says, hey, you have to start taking money out of your 401k, your IRA, your TSP, your 457, whatever it is. Start taking money out of it, pay tax on it, and then either spend the money, put it in your bank account, or reinvest it. And if you do one of those other two things, now you've paid tax on it once because it came out of your IRA. Now you're putting it into your bank account or you're putting it into a brokerage account. That what happens on that? You earn interest, you make money on capital gains, you get bond interest, you get dividend payments, and you're paying tax again. So your tax problem really just starts to compound and compound and compound. And one of the things that we show people when they come in and sit down with us is by doing nothing, by having no tax plan, leaving your money in your IRA, in your 401k, your TSB, and collecting the income the way you're living your life, here's the taxes that you're going to pay over your lifetime. And it is staggering numbers. Most people don't believe the numbers because, well, I have, $1.5 million in my IRA, and you're telling me I'm going to pay $2.5 million in tax over my lifetime. Absolutely. Wow. You're paying tax on, it's not just the tax on that money. It's the tax on your Social Security. It's the tax on your pension. It's the tax on all of your income. And then as soon as you hit that magical RMD age, we're adding even more money onto it and jumping your tax on all of your other income up pretty significantly. And then what we show them is by doing tax planning, by having a plan in place and doing Roth conversions, here's how much money we can save you in taxes. And for some people, it's not a lot of money, and it is kind of an argument that we can make of, this might not really make sense for you. But for some people, we're saving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for them in taxes. And it's a conversation that I frequently have of, let's think about politicians, right? All they ever do is argue and bicker. And right now they're bickering about the big, beautiful bill. We have all this deficit, and if the big, beautiful bill passes, we're going to add even more debt onto the national deficit. But I think that we can all agree, whether you're Republican or Democrat, the taxes have to go up in the future. No matter what we do, taxes have to go up to pay for everything. Politicians' number one job, and this is my opinion, is to get reelected. If your politician votes to raise your taxes, chances are you're not going to vote for them at the next election cycle because, hey, you just cost me more money. Their number one job is to get reelected, and they're not going to do that. No one's going to openly vote for, a tax raise. I think what a much more logical thing that happens, and this is kind of evidenced by what has happened with the RMD ages, there are trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars inside retirement accounts, pre-tax money that the government has encouraged you to put this money away and pay tax on in the future. I think that this is the perfect place for them to target in the future to raise additional tax revenue. And if my evidence for this, my thought process for this is, if you think about the RMD age used to be age 70 and a half. Once you reach age 70 and a half, the government said you have to start taking money out. And then they said, oh, no, never mind. We're going to change it. It's now going to be 72. Then they came back and they said, oh, no, we'll change it again. It'll be 73. And now it's going to change again to be age 75. And most people think, oh, that's great. I can leave the money in my account. I don't have to take it out and pay tax on it. That's great. I'm saving myself money. Well, that's not really what the plan is. Basically, every year longer, they let you leave the money in your 401k, your IRA, or whatever it is. In theory, that money is going to grow to a larger number because it's sitting in there. You're getting that compound interest factor. That's what's happening. But now they've pushed the age out, but they didn't adjust the factors of how much money has to come out. So now not only do you have a larger number in that account, but the factor that has to come out of it is an even bigger number beyond that. So now I'm taking out an even bigger number at age 73 than I otherwise would have had I started at 70 and a half. Now I'm taking a bigger number out at 75 than it would have been if I started taking it at 73. So what they have effectively done is raise your taxes without raising your taxes, because they said, oh no, we didn't touch the tax rates, but they've made you take out more money, which now can, number one, bigger number, more taxes, but can also raise your overall effective tax rate, which is why it's all about having that tax plan. And one of the beautiful things about what happens when you come in and see me is I'm going to ask to see all your investment account statements. I want to see what type of accounts you have. I want to see how much money you have in it. I want to see what you're actually invested in. And I want to do this for a couple purposes. Number one, I want to figure out what fees you're paying. I want to figure out how much risk you're taking on. But number two, I want to know how much money we have inside of an IRA or some type of pre-tax account. And then I want to see your income taxes, because I want to figure out, number one, how can I help save you money right now in taxes? But how can I come up with a tax plan so that possibly in the future, I can get you down to a 0% tax bracket? I can't do it for everybody, but for a good majority of our clients, right, Lawrence, you'd say that we can get them down to about a 0% tax bracket. And it's all about having a plan, putting a true plan in place to help save you money on taxes. And the look of relief, the look of joy, I think that Lawrence and I see, every time we sit down with people and show them, we're going to save you $300, $400, $500, $1 million in taxes over your lifetime just by putting a plan in place. It's amazing. And, that's kind of what gets me out of bed in the morning is helping people see that you don't have to pay taxes. There's not a patriotic duty for you to pay taxes. If we can help get you down to that lowest tax rate legally possible, I think you owe it to yourself to pick up the phone and give us a call at 866-597-1040. That's 866-597-1040. Sit down with our team here at ProStatus and let us put together your very own tax protection plan for retirement, 866-597-1040. Or if you're like me and you hate picking up the phone to make appointments, you can visit our website, thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Right across the top of the page is a button that says schedule my call at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. It takes about 15 minutes, thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
And I think one of the cool things, what Ryan mentioned is putting that tax plan together. And we actually, the cool things that we do is we actually show you that tax plan on paper and you can see the actual results. We'll show a cool spreadsheet of, what happens if I do tax planning and what happens if I don't do proper tax planning. And one of the interesting things that you'll see and prospective clients see and people that call into the radio that you'll see is, we'll show you that, when you retire, there may be a certain time period that you are paying lower taxes, right? Because you only have Social Security or coming in, or maybe a pension and maybe some distributions from your 401k. And, a lot of times that's, you retire at 67 and from 67 to 73, you might see your lower tax, you're in that lower tax bracket. It's very, very low. And then right there at age 73, there's this huge spike, and we'll show you the exact numbers on a spreadsheet. And you can see it that very, very low tax rates, and 73 hits and boom, there's that spike. And again, it's because of those RMDs that you're being forced to take, even if you don't need the income. But then on the other side of things, we'll show you that with proper tax planning, that first 5 to 6 years of retirement, if you're retiring at 67, for example, yes, we're going to make you pay or keep your taxes right where they've been at, or maybe slightly more to do efficient tax planning. But then when that 73 hits, you see that you've dropped down to zero taxes. You're not paying any taxes anymore. And that stays steady for the rest of retirement to where you might be at that zero number or that, 10% bracket for the rest of retirement, regardless of the income you have coming in, because we've done proper tax planning. But then again, if we look at the opposite spreadsheet to where we did zero tax planning, that number and that tax bracket just keeps getting higher and higher and higher because of those RMDs.
So we started the segment today by talking about the anniversary of Jaws and the line, we're going to need a bigger boat. And when you go in to talk about retirement planning and your retirement, you may be saying kind of that. What? I need a bigger boat. I need more income. I need more of this. I need more of that. And what Ryan and Lawrence are saying is what most people need more of is tax planning. And that's what we would love to do for you at ProStatus Financial. Give us a look on our website. Give us a call, 866-597-1040. 866-597-1040. If you've saved $500,000 or more, you've got that 401k, everything that you've done for retirement, does it add up to $500,000? So many of you, it does. And this is where you're going to start to see tax planning, Social Security planning, income planning, legacy planning. It all really starts to come into focus. You can use our website as well, thesavvyinvestorradio.com. 2 V's in Savvy, thesavvyinvestorradio.com, and click on that button for the 15-minute conversation where we can talk to you and find out what your concerns are and see if our help will match up. Again, thesavvyinvestorradio.com. That is all the time we have on today's program. Lawrence, I'll give you the last word for today.
This is Lawrence Kiely, and thank you for listening to the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast.
And this is Ryan Herbert. We'll see you, the Savvy Investor, next week.
Advisory services offered through ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, a registered investment advisor. Insurance licensed in Maryland. ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if ProStatus Financial Advisors Group is licensed in your state, please call 410-863-1040. ProStatus Group, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through representatives of ProStatus Financial Advisors Group.